go live button now, guys. So I think it's working.
It's working.
All right, we're just waiting for it to load. I think we are there. We are live. So to all of our people who are here, if this is your first time here and you want to learn how to get started in Bitcoin, grow your cryptocurrency knowledge and all types of other crypto related trading stuff, start now by subscribing and clicking that bell so you don't get left behind.
Well done.
Thank
Well
you.
done indeed.
Excellent.
So there you go. We are live.
Excellent. We're live. So, Missy L. Steve, what would you like to talk about today? It's been a while since we've done one of these podcast things, YouTube video live things.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out. You know what? I'm getting like a feedback on myself. I don't know what to do to stop it.
Yeah, there's one thing you don't want from you is feedback. I mean, come on.
No, I don't want to hear myself talk. I really don't. I mean, that's like the one thing I don't want, but it's just, anyway.
All right. Well, while Steve is listening to himself, Jeremy, it's a pleasure to see you again. Long time.
Same. Good to see you guys.
Sure, you guys do know each other for a while as well, don't you?
Yeah,
We do.
we
do. But you know who doesn't know Jeremy yet is our audience. So Jeremy.
That's true. Well, first of all, maybe Yuri, we should tell our audience where we've been hiding.
We have. All right. So we'll skip Jeremy's intro for a second. Okay. Where we've been hiding. We've been hiding.
Well, it's because it's a lead into why Jeremy is here, right? Well, not why he's here, but I don't know why you're here, Jeremy, but
I turned on my computer and there you guys were.
I know.
That happens. We creep in like that, just like whoop.
Creeping in, yeah. Okay, so where we've been hiding, been writing our book.
That's right. We've been hiding in the late nights and early mornings, writing deep away, writing our book, like writers, like block everything out, writers. I feel it's very romantic what we've been doing, actually. The romanticized version of writing, closing everything off.
Well, I don't know if my wife would be saying that, Yuri, when we spent 12 hours together, like on a weekend remotely between London and Boston. I don't think that's her idea of like romance, but
some people maybe.
Bromance. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. Yeah. I never seen you turn red before, Yuri. I didn't realize I could make you embarrassed talking about the fact that, you know, we were having a bromance for all these weekends.
That's true. We have. We spent a lot of time together these last few months.
Well, so the good news is we have a full manuscript of the book. It's going to be coming out in November. It's called Be Left Behind because we don't want you to be left behind. And our friend Jeremy, who's joined us today, we're not gonna blame and shame you, Jeremy, I promise. But Jeremy was somewhat new to crypto, and he and I had a conversation one day on WhatsApp, which led to really a whole chapter in the book almost about how to get started and how to send some money around in crypto and how to get started and all that kind of stuff. So thank you for being our guinea pig that turned into a chapter.
It is. Yeah. Thank you for allowing us to put you in the book, Jeremy.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. You know, I was talking with Steve yesterday and just the things that I had learned, it was funny. We were kind of chatting back and forth. And I didn't even know, and you'll see in the book, I didn't even know basic things like how to send a Bitcoin or anything. Like I didn't even know how to find my address and yesterday, Steve will tell you, I was up almost 50% on a trade yesterday, just on the things that I've learned. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah. So
wow.
So Jeremy is my trading accountability partner and vice versa. And for those of you who don't know a lot about trading and are trying to learn, well, we're going to get into a lot of that over time as well, because we know how important it is for people want to know, where's Bitcoin going? Is it going to pump or dump? But one of the things about trading is it's very, very easy to make a trade and then get in your own way from whatever it is you said you were going to do, either out of greed or out of fear. And so I keep Jeremy straight and narrow, and frankly, he puts a buffalo behind him to remind me that I need to be bullish, but be wise. Not that we're calling Buffalo wise,
to
but
be buffaloed, obviously.
little mozzarella cheese never hurt me there, that's for sure.
That's right. That's right. So you're saying like a buffalo is like a wise bull?
I don't know. I don't know why he's got a buffalo on the wall. Other than because he lives in Buffalo.
Very cool.
It's the best advertisement for a city ever. So, you know, if the mayor of Buffalo happens to be watching, then, you know, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks for turning up, Mr. Buffalo.
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure. Yeah, Steve and I talk here and there. And there's been a few times where we'll actually draw some things on the chart. And we were talking this morning. We're seeing, you know, I'm seeing a portion of, Steve has a lot more knowledge than I do. And we're seeing a portion of maybe a trend. And he'll look at it and be like, well, I see what you're saying, but this is actually a larger part of a trend. And he actually pointed out a, what do you call a cup and handle today, and some other trends that he was able to notice that all go hand in hand together. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah. Could you, so how about this? Could you two show us, as opposed to tell us, what you're talking about?
Yeah. So we can probably do that.
I mean,
I hope you're prepared, Steve, because in order for me to get on this YouTube, I had to close everything out.
Close it out. Although Jeremy now is showing a cup in hand technique right now. I thought you were being cheeky. I guess you weren't. Like right there, cup in hand, done. That's what we were talking about.
Yep, this is it. Bam.
I don't even know where you two are going with this one.
He had a mug in his hand.
But he is the mug.
Wah, wah.
Sorry.
Yes.
Let me move this around here so I can see better. There we go. So I can move it over here. Time.
Okay, so what? So Steve and I used to do a lot of these, and there's a lot more colors on these charts since the last time you and I looked at this.
This is great. So we're using, first of all, for a lot of people who are into trading and trying to figure out how to trade better, Jeremy and I are using some very specialized indicators that are not market available. They're only available to buy. And if people want to buy them, we have a relationship with Crypto Face, who makes this particular indicator, and it's another channel you can check out separately. And he sells this stuff, but we also can sell it for him. So if anybody, you know, likes this stuff and wants to get into it, we'll put links down below or information so you can find out how to get into it. This stuff are these are literally like indicators on steroids, because there's so many things going on. And Yuri, as you've said, there's just so much on the screen. You're like, what am I supposed to look at? And it's true. There's just a lot of information here.
Yeah, there are a lot of pretty colors.
Jeremy and I spend a lot of time. Pretty colors.
Yeah, I'm glad I throw you off with that kind of stuff.
Pretty colors.
Yeah.
So, I mean, first of all, I'm going to just ignore Yuri for a minute because now, I love you, Yuri. You know that. I wouldn't spend 12 hours on weekends having bromances with you and pissing off my wife otherwise.
That's right. Your wife's going to love it so much when our book is actually released. You'll actually get your weekends back.
Well, that's not what our editor told us. She said, you better be starting to write the next book. So.
That's true. I take this high praise. She likes our writing so much that she wants us to keep cranking them out.
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, I'm on the day chart, and I'll just show you a couple things. I mean, what Market Cipher is doing, just to kind of step back and look at Market Cipher, there's a couple of different Market Cipher indicators. There's the one at the bottom called Market Cipher B, and there's the one that's up at the top here, which has got the normal candlesticks with these little yellow dots and red dots, and that's Market Cipher A. And using the two indicators combined together tells you just loads of stuff going on. The simplest way to look at it would be, if you look at the little yellow diamonds that are popping up along the way, these are all bullish indicators that things are all continuing to be positive. And what you find is generally when there's a yellow diamond, things keep going up. And that's certainly what we saw happen, you know, when we went up to 13,000 or whatever. But equally, when you get a little red X, you usually want to get out and run, and it's just before it happens. They're usually pretty accurate in saying something's about to go bad and get out. And you saw it happen here, and it just dumped right after that for the next, X amount of days. And that's pretty crazy to be able to forecast that. The red diamond is like a yellow diamond. It's the opposite. If the yellow diamonds are bullish indicators saying things are still looking good, the red indicators are things might be getting a little bit worse. You might consider getting out, or it might sell off. And they usually are sell off points. But when you get the red X, it's usually like, okay, oh crap, this is really going to drop. So it's like when Jeremy and I see red X's, it doesn't matter what time frame we're in, we just exit. Just like close the position, because especially if we're going long. If we're going short, then of course we're like, oh, okay, cool. Flop over, let's short the market and whatever. And those are the main ones to look at. There's also a big red diamond that occurs every so often, which is fortunately not here, which is always a good thing, which means I think we're calling that a blood diamond.
Blood diamond, yeah. Yeah.
So when you see a blood diamond, it's basically a red diamond and a red X on the same time frame coming in together. It's like not a good thing. You really don't want to be in there when that happens. And they always come before the big dumps occur. There's also a big yellow X, which pretty much does the same thing. It means get out. So that's what happens up here. And that's really useful because you can always get a kind of a good indication of what's happening. The bottom are showing you the waves of movement, and they're fairly predictive, not always, but they're fairly predictive, where, you look at like a blue wave, the blue wave here, the light blue is what you're looking for to cut back into the dark blue. That's where it tells you it's time to do something. If you're at the bottom and it cuts in, it means buy. And if it's at the top and it cuts in, it means sell. But what's more interesting is where you have a bigger wave and a smaller wave. The bigger wave is what we call an anchor. The smaller wave is what we call a trigger. And if you look at the bigger wave followed by the anchor, and you look at the anchor wave, look where the anchor wave was sitting. It was right before the diamond, right before the X. So it's literally giving you this, hey, okay, guys, it's time to probably get out. And those who were actually following the trigger and did so could have even gone short on this position and gone from something like, 12.3 and gone all the way down to, 9.3. That's 3,000 points. I mean, I wish I would have done that, but I was on holiday. So, I was enjoying the beaches. And Jeremy's sending me messages going, holy whatever. I'm not going to swear on the channel, but holy whatever. There's stuff going on here, man. It's like, what do we do? What do we do? It's like, I mean, we're flopping and groping. Like, what should we be doing? But yeah, so that's what's going on in terms of like how you look at swing trading it up and down. There's a lot more. And as I think over time, we'll cover all these things and how they work. And I'm sure we'll get questions about it. So that's the gist of it. But there's other stuff on here that I've drawn up, like this yellow line coming down and this green line across the bottom, which is creating this descending wedge, which is, so the question at the beginning was pump or dump. So I know there's a lot of people out there saying market's going to dump, and it could. And we'll say here's why, and we'll also say here why not. So if we look at this diagonal trending down, and we see the green line across the bottom, we've created this nice descending wedge. It's trending down. Descending wedges are bullish indicators because you generally break out above that trend line and you pop up and then you trend upwards. And that's usually where you break out from a downward trend. And right now we're kind of looking at, if you hear people talking about 11,000 and are we going to hit 11,100? It's no surprise. I'm going to get rid of this purple one, by the way. Sorry about that. I'm just going to get rid of that because it's not really helping us. If I can click on it. Okay. So no surprise when people are talking about, are we going to 11,100 or so? Or it's because of this line. This is where we are in the trend. And right now it's like, are we heading up to 11.1? And when I said, are we going to go up to 12? And I tweeted, are we going to 12? I was literally sitting in here someplace saying, I think we'll probably pop up and go to 12, but we didn't. We popped up a bit and dropped back down. But what you see happened over the last couple of days, we trended down and we again tested this green line, which I've had drawn for quite a while. So we, hit it once here. We hit it here a second time back in 29th July. And then
what number is the green line? Sorry,
what
for
number?
those that what testing, was it 9.4?
It's around 9. Yeah, it's around 9,450, something like that.
Okay.
You know, it's not an exact science in terms of the exact number, and you'll see that a lot of the little candle wicks drop below it. But there was no point where we actually closed below the line and then opened below the line and continued going, which tells you there's a lot of support around 9,400. There's also a lot of resistance around this trended line, which keeps getting lower and lower. Sooner or later, we're going to come to some point where we either end up at the wedge and we go one way or the other. You know, and that takes us to the 18th of October. So between now and the 18th of October, something has to happen one way or the other, up or down, or just sideways, but sideways doesn't mean anything. But so we have that, but we also have this other interesting wedge, which is this long-term trend going up and this shorter term trend going down, which is creating this sort of triangle that's going sideways, which is not very helpful because it's not ascending or descending. It's kind of like, right? So the concern I think most people have is that because we're in a downward cycle at the moment, then we could hit 11K and we could bounce back down. We could go back to 9, but we could easily go all the way back down to 7,600, which is what I've got in this little box over here, which is a Fibonacci box I have drawn up. So, I mean, there's a lot of different pieces of data that I'm throwing up on a screen all at once, and I just didn't delete the stuff because I didn't want to redraw it.
that's fair enough. Fair enough. So Jeremy, you've been using this program for a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
How is your results? As somebody who is, so Steve has been showing this for a little bit of time, and Steve is definitely a pro at this. What about somebody such as yourself who is newer to this? How has it been for you?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, for me, I didn't know anything about trading about 60 days ago now, almost 60 days. And so all of this, 100% of this was complete gibberish to me. I could look at this chart and be like, I have no idea what this means. And I started just with the regular candles. And I used to try to read those in order to figure out how I was going to make my trades. And, you know, sometimes I would be, you know, on the plus, sometimes I'd lose a little bit of money, but I was kind of up and down. And what I've noticed with this is if you're patient and you can't use just one indicator, you can't just look at, say, the RSI or just the descending triangle, you kind of put those together with the waves. And one of the things that I was doing in the beginning kind of incorrectly is Steve pointed out the waves on the bottom, the big blue waves in market Cipher B. I would actually enter kind of at the middle of the wave. And what he had pointed out, which is true, if say I was longing and it was already halfway up, I already left half of the potential profit on the table in theory. That's if it came down in an equal amount. So it's just getting comfortable with what the indicators are telling me. And market Cipher that's what it is. It has a ton of indicators kind of all put into one, and it has some proprietary indicators as well. There's a yellow X that will short the market, and the blood diamonds. It's kind of like an indicator that you can't find it at other places, and those kind of help tell us if trouble's on the way or you know, so on and so forth. But it's like, this is a cool way to trade with a little bit more knowledge. And I think the more knowledge you have, the greater your chances of success. I felt like now I feel like before I learned this, I was like flying blind. It was kind of like almost like guessing the market. You know, I think it's going to go down. I think it's going to go up. But this kind of gives you a handle of, all right, I'm sure it's going to go down. I don't know how much, or I'm sure it's going to go up. I'm not sure how much, but that's kind of like, it gives me a satisfaction of knowing that I can kind of tell which way it's going to go. And that's how I've been using it. So it's gone well.
Yeah. And we're spending, to be honest, I played with a lot of indicators, and I think the problem I always run into is if you use all the traditional indicators that are stock market indicators based on trading for 6 or 7 hours in a day and then being closed for a whole rest of the day and shut on weekends, you're not going to get the same kind of indication or trend that you're going to get when you're running 24/7 and you're in a market that's somewhat nascent and evolving and has a global play rather than local market play. It's completely different. And there's a huge amount of Asian influence and Asian money, which let's be fair, in the West, we're not used to that because they trade in a different style in a different way from the way that we might do in the US or even in the UK, where even traders trade in different ways with different styles and different indicators in some cases. So it's a lot of different factors. And I mean, Bitcoin's trading 24/7 and it's new and it's going, yes, you can use all sorts of, we've seen like what Trader Cobb showed us some time ago about using the 10 and 20 day EMA and moving average and just trying to follow it inside of a pattern. But I mean, you're going to be like, good luck finding patterns and like this kind of stuff sometimes where it moves around that much and trying to know when to get in, when to get out. I'm find like there's so many different indicators in one place that I'm more comfortable knowing that this is like a combination of indicators that have all been kind of jumbled together. And I'm comfortable enough knowing that and all the other things that are here that we didn't even cover yet today, that just gives me that confidence that when I'm looking at it, I know what's actually going on and I understand the underlying what's happening because I understand other indicators. But this is generally giving me a better indication of which way things are going before they happen. Nothing's going to ever be 100%, but damn, this is a lot better. And it's so much easier to trade with this. I don't have to look at anything else. I just pluck this on the screen and that's it. And that's the way I'm away. I'm just going. And it was worth it to get it. That's all I can say, because it makes trading easier. And you don't have to sit there trying to guess what is a stochastics and what it's MSI and RSI or MACD, or should I be using this EMA or that EMA, and what numbers should I be setting? Forget all that. It's not worth it. It's really not worth trying to second. And these indicators, I mean, they will work on other things like the stock market too. So, as I say, there's a lot of different things happening here, but I mean, Jeremy and I are sitting here like using it all the time. So
yeah. Well, good. So I know both you guys have been using this for a while, and I want you to be honest. Most day traders lose money. Are you guys up or down? I don't need numbers, just up or down.
Overall, I'm up.
Overall. Okay, overall up. Steve, what about you, Jeremy? Overall up, down, sideways?
I'll tell you this. I've been trading. This is my third month. The first month I was down because I was learning. Second month I was up, and this month I'm up so far. It's only 3 days new, but I just used Market Cipher. But really, I just used Market Cipher to, I was part of that 1,000-point move. I got in it at 95, and then I closed my long at 10,550. So it was a really nice move for me. So I started the month out right.
Great. Yeah. I mean, that alone, I think, is high praise for this, which is now becoming a giant infomercial for Market Cipher.
But yeah, that wasn't the intention. We were supposed to be just talking about whether the market's going to pump or dump. But
I know, but I love how you guys have like turned into it. Again, crypto face, you're welcome.
Yeah, seriously. No, so going back to the question about pump or dump, I mean, let me go back to the 4 hour. And Jeremy, you jump in with me on this because we've been playing around with this a lot. I'm going to just use the 4 hour because it's a slightly more granular point of view. Let me get the screen to load here. All right. So what I was kind of pointing out to Jeremy earlier was this curve followed by a handle. Now that may not be all the way at the top for the, a lot of times when you have a cup and handle, the cup starts at the top and goes all the way down, dips around, and then curves down, and it looks like a cup, like literally like your finger would be like this,
like Jeremy's cup.
My finger sits in there, and everyone. Yeah, and it literally curves down, like, because I thank you, Vanna White. Yeah, so it curves down a little bit like this, and then everyone goes, oh no, we're falling, we're dropping, it's going to go off a cliff. And that's where people start, saying, oh, that's it, it's the end. And then boom, it takes off. And part of me is thinking that everyone's all in the doom and gloom phase because they think it's going to drop, and they might be right. Because this could just be a curve up and a downward trend back down. But what if it is a cup and handle? I mean, it's not to say that still these statistical things work. What if it is? So what if we're all being faked out, and actually this little fake out is just a little fake out? It could come all the way back down to 10,100 or so, which is the long-term upward trend. It could come all the way. Well, I would hope it doesn't come all the way down to 9,500 because then the cup and handle's gone. But it could come down. The handle could be formed all the way down to 10,100 range. And then it could pop. That's possible. And then, then it pops up over here, heads up above. At that point, it'd be 10,900 or so. And then could be off, but it's not like we're talking about tomorrow it's going to pump or tomorrow it's going to dump. That's not what I'm seeing, but there are a lot of people concerned about Backed being launched in the US in the next week or two or so. And we saw in the past when the CBOE and the CME launched all that short trading stuff, it really messed up the market and screwed up Bitcoin big time. And people love to short because they like to kind of play with stuff. So there is that factor that we can't, that's a wild card. You know, the US China trade war is another factor, because as long as they're having a go at each other, people like to put their money into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin price goes up. And when they start saying everything's going fine, like today with Hong Kong saying it's all good, well, what happens? Hong Kong's good, so Bitcoin goes down.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You can literally correlate good news and bad news on China to Bitcoin price. At least that's what I see happening. I see a lot of negativity on China, Chinese, you know, economic things. Bitcoin goes up. And sure, people try to correlate to the US, you know, stock market. They try to look at it to gold. Bitcoin and gold, yes, there's some correlation, but I mean, I'm not sitting here looking at correlations. I'm just looking at news and saying, is there something in the news happening that's worthy of why Bitcoin should go up? And usually it would be bad news coming out of the US trade war right now with China. And any bad news there will drive Bitcoin price up in most cases.
Yeah. You know, I was looking last night and I told Steve that I had noticed on Market Cipher, there's time frames. Steve, if you point to it on your, you can see the different 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, and so forth. So
You're talking about the ones up here, right?
Yeah. So
yeah, so I could switch to a 1 hour time frame, and then you see what's happening in 1 hour, and you get a different point of view, because at the 1 hour, or you go ahead, Jeremy. You were going to say something.
Yeah. What I noticed last night is that the RSI was over. What would you say? Overbought, and it was way too high. When you see that, like it gets, when it gets higher than say the 80 range, you're definitely you're almost always seeing the price action come down. You're going to start seeing people start to sell. And I had noticed that on most of the time frames, you know, even up to like the 3-4 hour was really getting up there, which told me we're going to probably see some price reduction today and overnight. We have seen that so far. So as Steve and I were both talking, we kind of look at the larger time frames to kind of decide where it's going to go next. And that's kind of like, for me at least, I'm thinking in the next 24 hours, and that's going to tell me really, do I want to place a long swing or a short swing? And I'm you know, that's what we're trying to put together right now. We're seeing, you know, that's what we're looking at, like cup and handles or W's, things like that. And I think this next 24 hours is going to be really, it's going to tell us a lot about which way it's going to go. And I think it's going to become more clear as the day goes on, which is, you know, when things start to line up, you can almost see it on Market Cipher. You're going to be able to say, okay, it's time for a short or it's time for a long. Right now would probably be a good time for some scalps. And scalping is where you go from 100, 150 point moves. You're not trying to get into the 1,000 point moves. You're just trying to say, all right, I think it's going to go up 100 points, and you get out, and so on and so forth. And I think that's a good time for that right now.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, Jeremy. I completely agree with you. I mean, if I'm looking at like the 1 hour, I can see like we've made a trend downwards. Light blue line looks like it could cut into the dark blue line. This is probably going to be an anchor wave, not a trigger wave. So it's the kind of the baseline. But if it cuts in and you're looking for a short-term play, then over the next hour or so, you might make a play to get in someplace around, you know, 10,400. And hey, if it goes to 10,600, we called a 200-point gain right there. So
yeah.
And it might not be 200 points. It might be 50 points. It might be 100. But the chances of getting a gain when you actually see the light blue cut into the dark blue and start moving up, you'll see the same kind of pattern of it trending up, trending down, trending up, trending down, same way. So it wouldn't be unusual to see that happen. So, and that's on a shorter term 1 hour time scale. But, you know, we could look at 5 minute and do some really short-term scalps. But as you and I spoke about earlier, 5 minute trading is probably more fun when the market actually moves a little bit. But when it's moving a bit slower, like right now, you're not going to make anything.
Yeah. Need some good volume.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, so yeah, so what are we looking at now, Jeremy? I guess the ultimate question is, what do we think is going to happen? Is it going to pump, dump, go sideways?
Yeah. It's interesting. When I got up last night, I was thinking we were getting close to a short. I think it would dump a little bit. Right now, I'm kind of 50-50, which is odd to say, but and easy to say, I guess is probably a better way to put it. But
Yes.
you know, I think my next position could be a short, but I'm starting to see some signs where I'm obviously not doing that right now. I'm kind of holding off a little bit. So I have a band that I think is trading in, which is our handle. What I'll do is I'll keep an eye on that. If it stays within the handle, I might take some scalps and start at the bottom, say around 10.4, 10.3, and ride it up to 10.5s, 10.6. When it's a 10.5, 10.6, I'll short. And hopefully I'm on the right side of that when it either pumps or dumps. So I think there's opportunity to put yourself in a good position, but you have to know your time frame and know where you're at. You don't want to get caught on the wrong side of that pump or dump. And that's what you really have to watch out for right now. I think if you're super unsure and you're new to trading, maybe wait a little bit, draw your trend lines and wait for it to go to one side or the other, then grab it. I mean, we've talked about that when I first started trading, Steve. It's better to miss the first 10 or 20% and take the next 70, 80% on the way up. And, you make a good trade. You don't want to be on the wrong side. And keep your leverage.
Well, if you're doing leverage trading, then yeah, certainly you don't want to be doing like high leverage right now. Let's keep it low, 2-3x. And I know a lot of people, we haven't talked about that with you guys on this show before, but we can certainly cover that more. So if you guys let us know that you want us to get into that, we can go into a lot more detail about what leverage trading is as well, because it is a whole topic in itself about how do you take Bitcoin and make more Bitcoin by trading Bitcoin, literally trading on itself. But I mean, the other thing I would say is like, you don't want to start trading in the middle of a trading pattern. Like if it's in the middle someplace here, I would be looking at market Cipher where I'm at the bottom and it says now's the time to get in because it's at a bottom.
Mhm.
But if I'm looking at like where we are right now, and we've already kind of trended down on the 4-hour by, part way, I wouldn't start shorting here because I feel like I've already come in too late. I should have gone in at the top. If I'd gone into the top, I would have shorted at 10,680 or something.
Yep.
But I'm not going to start jumping in at 10,400 because it's already gone 250 points down. I mean, that would just be a little bit like, and some people might be saying, well, isn't it going to keep going down? And the answer is no. This is momentum based. So it might trend down and then the momentum is just slowed down. So this thing could just keep going down, even though the actual price action could stay in the same region. And I've made that mistake a few times trying to come in late and waiting and waiting and waiting for it to keep going down. And it didn't keep going down. This just goes down as part of the momentum shift. And then when it flips the other way, it's saying now we're trending more back in the upward direction. And it's just giving you an indication of direction. It doesn't tell you the volume or the amount of shift or of change. And I've had a lot of people ask me, well, can't you predict the price? And like, how am I supposed to predict the price? I don't know the amount of movement it'll take. I just know that it's in a generally downward trend right now. I can't tell you how much it's going to go down. If I knew that, I wouldn't even be here. I would be sitting someplace on a beach, retired.
Yeah, exactly. Gonna say, if you could predict the price of where it's going to hit next, then I think a lot of people would just start being like following you as their guru, and you would just be in a desert island somewhere enjoying the fruits of your labor.
Yeah. So look, I don't want to sit here saying we're not giving people any indication of which way it's going, but to be fair, there are people on both sides of this right now, and I'm not in a place where I could say I have confidence that it's going to drop. I don't have confidence it's going to rise. I see that we're in the middle of a pattern. It's this big triangular descending wedge, which I think is probably a fairly valid wedge, which is bullish, but we need to stay above 9,450 range, and we need to actually see us break above this downward trend. It's got to be one or the other, right? And until we do that, we're stuck in the middle of this little place where we're going to go up and down in this little tiny wedge, and sooner or later one or the other breaks. And when it does, then it's like, okay, now battle stations or not. Go long, go short, and in the middle of all this, we just need to wait.
So Steve, in your indications, would you guess it's going to hit 11,000 first or 9.5 first? If you had to just pick one or the other right now, which do you think will happen first?
I thought I was going to actually go to 11 in this particular run, and it didn't. But I don't feel like it's going to go all the way back down to 9.5 right now. So I'm going to give you a slightly different answer.
How very politician of you.
Yeah, no, I tell you why, because actually your question was about.
I'm going to give you another one.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to give you the third answer. The third answer is the better answer, which is that we're sliding down here. So by the time I give you your answer, we may have. So let's just like pretend we're drawing this out. I'm going to trend up. I'm going to trend down. I'm going to trend up again, and I'm going to pop over here, and it's going to be 10,800. So no, it won't be 11,000. It'll probably be more like 10.8, if we're lucky, 10.9. Maybe a little bit above, but I don't think 11. It might be 11, but I think it'll be a little bit less than 11 that we'll go up to. And then the question will be, do we break above that, close above it on one time frame, open above and stay above on the next time frame, and then we have a possibility for, the next parabolic move.
Okay.
So I'm sorry I couldn't give you the 11K figure, but do I think it's going to go there before 9? Yes. I think it's going to hit the top. I'll give you a better answer. I think it'll hit the orange trended downward line before we hit the green line again.
The fourth answer. Okay. That sounds very, very fair.
Now I'm going to get trolled by listen, guys, don't troll me for that. I'm trying to help you guys out here. So please don't troll me trying to give you a diplomatic answer, because I don't want to say buy and you say, Steve told us to buy and I got it wrong, because that would suck. And I'm sorry for that.
That's right. But Steve gives you a money back guarantee. He is.
Yes, I will be giving you Yuri's money back. That's the guarantee.
You heard it here first. It's going this way.
That's right. Exactly. Somewhere here.
Yeah, we're not sideways neutral at all, are we?
No, not at all. We tell you the boring answers that are probably more correct versus the exciting answers that are all over the place.
I say we talk about the book for a minute. People are probably dying to know about what this book all about that we're talking about.
Actually, I was just gonna bring that up. I was gonna ask you. You guys have some exciting news coming up. I mean, what's going on with the book?
Well, we started off as a self-publishing book. Oh no, I mean, I just wanted to mention that we started off doing self-publishing and we got picked up by a boutique publisher. So we're literally going to be published. And thank God we didn't self-publish, because the quality of the book just wasn't there, as we discovered.
It was self-publishing is a beast unto itself. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
It is.
Yeah.
But when you get a real editor and you really have them go through the book and they're following the Chicago Style Guide, if you've never heard of it, well, don't bother. It's just a style guide for writers. And Anne, we love you. We'll give you a shout out to Anne. Anne is an amazing editor. And if anyone wants to write a book and wants to find an amazing editor who runs a publishing house, then just drop us a note, because she's amazing.
And Steve, you have told me that you're not just saying that now. I mean, you've told me that in our personal conversations, that she's a pleasure to work with and you're enjoying it. It's making your book awesome. Much better. Yeah.
She's a little, I mean, I'm sorry, Anne, but you're a little monster, because you just kicked the crap out of us.
She takes no prisoners, and she does not mince words.
No. I mean, the thing is, we're dealing with crypto, right? I mean, Yuri and I have been in it for too long, Jeremy, as you know, and quite honestly, trying to find a way to simplify what the hell crypto is and what's the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum, so that the average Joe, who is just kind of like anybody who goes to work, and I don't care if they're blue collar or white collar, I'm talking about people who are not techie at all, and they just want to understand what is all this stuff, and trying to take crypto language like smart contracts or blockchain versus cryptocurrency versus coin, and what is the difference,
or mining,
what the hell is an open source project, or what is mining, what the hell is proof of stake, what's proof of work, who cares? Well, what we got a lot of was the word Mandarin thrown back at us, like Mandarin. I have no idea what you're saying, guys. I'm sorry. I speak English. I don't speak Chinese. I don't read Chinese. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And that's why we had the bromance.
That is our long bromance of how to make it, how to do the technical terms justice while still translating them for an average audience who doesn't understand all the technical nuances, which took us a long time. Such a long time.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
Yeah, and we
back and
started
forth.
with what, like 7 chapters, and we ended up doubling it to 14 chapters.
Yeah.
But we ended up not with us. We didn't end up with a longer book. What we've ended up with is far more, a far better way of organizing the content so that each chapter in itself stands out on its own as to why, how do you buy? How do you sell? How do you spend? How do you
Mhm.
trade? How do you keep your coins safe? How do you avoid scams? I mean, what's a wallet? What's a blockchain? What's cryptocurrency? What's a coin? What the hell is the difference?
Yeah.
And does it matter? And why does it matter? And honestly, it sounds so simple to say all that, but it's a hell of a lot harder to write it, especially in layman's terms.
It is. It is. And there have been a lot of books written on this subject as well. So we're joining those ranks. And our goal was to make us a little bit different than other books that have been written by focusing on the absolute new audience who maybe has not, who is not technically savvy and doesn't understand all the nuances and how to speak, how to describe, describe blockchain and Bitcoin to a 5-year-old who have never heard the terms before or even really know how to use a computer. Like that kind of breaking it down for the average person to understand. And that was our huge monumentous task that we did. And we've done a really good job with it. Pat myself on the back, pat Steve on the back. Can't really see that, but that kind of works.
I felt it though.
I've had the opportunity to see, the one of the first versions of your book. Let's put it that way. I know you've been improving it as you've gone along, but I'm that person that didn't know anything, so it was really awesome to, I had no clue. Like it seems like gibberish when you start looking at some of this stuff, and your book does a nice job of explaining it. And what do I always say when I'm done reading it? Well, that's not that difficult. Once you understand it, you guys do a really great job of explaining it. But I've tried to figure out things on my own, and it's just like
Thank you.
Tales. But
yeah,
reading what you guys have written, I mean, it's shown me what I've needed to do, which equals real dollars, which is nice.
Well, thank you, Jimmy. Your thank you check will be in the mail for giving that testimonial.
I'm not a paid actor, although oh boy.
But then the buffalo would be left behind, so we don't want that happening.
That's true. We don't.
So for those of you who are watching and you've been in crypto a while, then just pick up a copy and give it to your mom or your mates or your friends or your aunts, uncles, cousins, whatever, because we don't want them to be left behind. And that's why we got the title Be Left Behind. So those of you who are not in crypto that it might have popped into this episode and you're here to learn, that's why we wrote the book. So we want this to be about adoption. This has been the biggest problem that we run into. And Yuri, you said it, so I'll let you say it, is people tend to associate crypto with
scams.
Not companies so much, right? But
scams.
Well, yeah, that, but also with like famous people.
Yes, there's that too.
Or famous people. Yeah.
I like the word scams better though.
But I've got a frozen screen on my side. There you go. You're back.
Oh, do you?
But yeah, so if you look at most of the apps that are out there, or the dApps, decentralized apps that are out there, the biggest problem is most of them are like, now what do I do? Like literally, what do I do with this thing? Not because I don't know and Yuri doesn't know, but because I can't give it to any of my mainstream friends because they have no idea what the hell it all is. It's like, don't get it.
Sure.
And if we don't start making the apps like usable, like for real, like the rest of the world, we're leaving people behind, and that's not cool. So something has to change. We need to do something different to enable people to actually be able to use the stuff. That's the biggest problem. So you have to start someplace by educating people. So we thought, let's start with the masses. And then at the same time, we could put pressure on the crypto community to step up their game and actually fix this, because we're tired of seeing unusable apps. It's just a joke. Like, we can work them out. But if I show them to my friends, they're like, well, what do I do with this thing? Seriously, like, what do I do with it? And that's not okay for me, because we're never going to get the adoption that we need if we keep doing it this way.
Exactly.
And that's it. I just killed the conversation, didn't I?
I like it. It's a long, it's our pincher pause. We just need to put that in for dramatic effect.
Bum, bum, bum.
Because you're exactly right,
drama.
Steve. I know. That's because it's exactly right. Actually, you said it so eloquently. It's like it's hard to follow that up, but that's exactly why we wrote this book. It's for the two audiences. It's the crypto community at large, to add in additional features that make it easier for the average person to get involved, and for the non-technical group who is interested, has maybe heard about Bitcoin, blockchain, and is like, that's way too technical. I'll just, I think I missed the boat, or I don't want to take the time to get in to figure it out because it's way above my head. And it's like, I had this conversation with my mother, and this is partially why Stephen wrote the book, for our parents who we want to get involved in this community and who are interested, but they're like, I'm not technical and it sounds confusing and I don't have the hours to spend to learn this. And so that's what this book is really helping that community get caught up to speed, get involved, which will add in a lot more people into the community and help all boats with the rising tide.
Hey, Yuri, I have a question. Because when I didn't know anything about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency at all, it's funny that your book is called Be Left Behind, because that was kind of like how I was feeling, like, what is this new currency? And, you hear, like you said, you hear the scam, you think it's a scam. That's the first thing. People like to deny it because they don't have it and they feel like, oh, it's garbage, and it's like, but the more I learn about it, it's really a viable use of currency. Is awesome. And my question is this: in order for people to not feel like they've been left behind, they could get your book and learn about it. But the question is, at what point do you think we're at when we talk about Bitcoin and the value of Bitcoin? Are we at the top right now? Are we at the bottom? Like, where are we? And Steve, you can answer as well, but where do you think we are in adoption? Like, as far as have people been left behind? Have they missed the boat? What do you think is going to happen? I mean, where are we at? Is it early? Is it late? Is it early, late? Where is it at as far as the pricing and
Yuri, we answered that
We answer that.
Sorry to say.
We do.
Is it too late to buy Bitcoin?
That's literally a chapter in our book. Maybe we should just hold off on that and buy our book. Turn to page 45.
Yeah.
But I think people need to know that, it's not too late, but if they wait too much longer, they need to learn about this stuff now. What you say?
Let's put it this way. The longer one waits, the harder it's going to be. And I'm talking in the long term. I don't mean short term. I don't mean in the next 6 weeks. The longer one waits in a long-term perspective, the harder it's going to be to own one Bitcoin. And why is that significant? Because there's only going to ever be 21 million Bitcoin in the world ever. And that's the maximum number of Bitcoin. And the planet has over 5 billion people. So if you have a Bitcoin and everybody else in the world tries to buy a Bitcoin, well, there's a supply and demand thing here, which is there's more people than there are coins. So that would indicate the price probably goes up. But more importantly, if you're one of the people who are the few to have a whole Bitcoin, you're going to be in a rare audience of few. And most of your friends will say, how come I got left behind and you didn't tell me? And you're going to say, well, I did tell you. I even gave you the book and you still didn't do anything. Don't blame me, mate. Right?
Yeah.
So that's a simple answer, but it's an economic I look at it from an economic perspective. It's a supply and demand thing. There will be over time, I think, more demand. and supply is not going to increase.
Nope.
So if demand outstrips supply, it's just economics. Price goes up because there's nothing more available.
Yeah. And so to continue with that answer, there are companies now who are spending a lot of money, large name corporations, Microsoft, Facebook is making the biggest noise on this right now, but Amazon, a lot of big companies are investigating how to integrate blockchain into their own ecosystems. And they're actually proud to say that. Samsung, exactly. Like a lot of companies are proud in saying this. Before they kept it on the down low. They've been doing it for a while, but now they're announcing it because it's actually something that shareholders are interested in, not just like saying it, but actually proving it. And now there are additional other retailers coming on board who are accepting Bitcoin. So it's still in the early, like, you know, Steve and I talk about this in the book. We did experiments in 2017 and 2018 about how to physically go into shops and spend Bitcoin. And you can read those stories in there. But let's just say it was real difficult and never actually happened in a live shop. But that's changing. That's growing. The market itself is growing. And so it will be like adoption is coming, but we're not there yet. So now is a great time to get involved and understand what's going to happen, because the future is going to come and it's going to come quickly.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well put. Oh, and by the way, Jeremy, we're back to 10,507. Just, you know, we've just popped 50 points while we were sitting here saying we're probably going to go back up and test. And I'm now my 11K number that I said won't happen. It'll probably happen. And, you know,
be bold, sir.
What do I know?
Bold. Exactly.
Yeah. No, but look, anything's going to happen here. But yeah, I mean, look, you know, I still think that we're going to see, you know, adoption. We're going to see, you know, 1% of the population is in crypto today, maybe 2% or 3% in the future. And that's a small percent. But at some point it starts to accelerate. And it's when it starts to accelerate, you're going to see people who have a lot of Bitcoin dumping. That will put pressure on the price to go down. And that's where you'll see these price drops. But you're going to have a lot of people coming in trying to buy a quarter or a half or a third of a Bitcoin, or trying to do monthly purchases off their salaries, stuff that doesn't even exist to enable people to do today. You can't even do it. You can't even do a monthly transaction. It's almost impossible because there's nobody providing services like that yet. And yet you can do, you know, direct debits on a monthly basis to have like your antivirus software paid monthly or annually or anything else. That's normal in banking, but we don't do that yet. So there's a lot of things that are going to kind of all come together. That's what makes this whole adoption story interesting. Going back to the thing about adoption of companies. So Yuri made the comment about, you know, Apple, or so not Apple, about Amazon and others. I think we have an interesting, call this a prediction. We've not talked about this in the book, so we can talk about it. But an interesting prediction. Look at Samsung right now. You know, Samsung is announcing all this stuff about crypto wallets and the way they're going to transform the whole kind of way their phone is used and enabling people that use crypto and all that kind of stuff. Surely, and I say this jokingly, but Apple does not want to be left behind. Right. So if Samsung's doing it, watch Apple do it.
Right.
Samsung and Apple are doing it. Watch what happens with HTC. Watch what happens with what's the other Chinese brand? There's a couple of them, right? Hawaii or whatever it's called.
Oh, right.
And you're going to see all the mobile phones and smartphones having it, right? Well, then what happens after that? Now you've got them on your phones, and now you start getting into things like Apple Pay and Google Pay. And all of a sudden Google goes, well, I don't want to be left out of this because I want to be able to capture the payment market and make my money. And then the card services providers jump in and go, well, hang on a second. I don't want Apple doing Apple Pay and leaving us behind with crypto. So we're going to have to provide a service inside there. Watch this like dominoes. I'm saying it here and now. I'm telling you, that's what I think is going to happen. Samsung has actually lit the fire, but it's like kindling in smoke right now, and people don't see it coming. But trust me, Apple's panicking if Samsung's out there with the phone now. It's just like, it is so around the corner, and Apple's not going to get left behind. They're not.
No.
And neither is Amazon, neither is Google, Trust me, they've all got people working on stuff already. They have to. They're not stupid. Banks, all the banks are doing something, dabbling in it. So sooner or later, it bubbles up to the surface. It's just right now R&D, background research, evaluating the market, looking at what the governments are saying, look at the regulations. They're being cautious. And they're making sure they don't invest in something that dies.
Right.
So ain't going away, people. Get your Bitcoin now. It's on sale.
You know, you need to save that and play it like a year from now, and the price will just go way up, and you'll be saying that, and you'll be like, you know, I told you.
That's right. Told you so.
Well, 10. Okay, we're just going to mark it. 10. Price is 10,500 as of today, 4th of September. We'll just do a little time check on that one, and we'll check back in a year and see how we're doing.
We have. Although the halvening is coming up, isn't it? A year from now, technically.
Probably around May.
Oh, it's May.
Roughly, I think it's end of April, early May, mid-May next year, roughly, because we don't know which block it'll confirm in yet. As we get closer, we'll know. But
right. Okay.
Right
so
now, halvening will be
spring.
around. End of April to mid-May timeframe.
Okay.
And then we'll see where we're really at. That'll be interesting. I mean, the halvening didn't do much for Litecoin, but then and if people are asking and want to troll us about that, let me comment on that too. Because the entire alt market is being slammed by Bitcoin, guys. So Ether is under pressure because what's the use case for Ether if there's no ICOs and no transactions going through it the way they used to be? And a lot of the apps and dApps that were being built have failed. So there goes Ether down the tubes. Hopefully they come back and figure out how to actually bring smart contracts to the business world and solve that. But Litecoin is another altcoin like all the other altcoins. The entire altcoin market is being hammered. So as long as all the altcoins are being hammered, the halvening for Litecoin is unfortunately being affected by the altcoin market overall and the fact that everyone's focused on Bitcoin right now. And we just got to wait that out. I mean, I don't think that's going to be a long-term problem for Litecoin. Love you guys at Litecoin.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Like,
we may as well give our shout outs to the whole Litecoin fam, you know.
Right. They've got a strong use case. They're doing great on that side, but yes, they are being hammered because of Bitcoin right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. Cool. I have no opinions on anything.
None whatsoever. So for the people who are watching right now, if you're interested so our book is not for sale yet, but you can get signed up and hear all of our updates and everything else and be on the wait list, beleftbehind.com. That's where you need to go. Sign up today. Invite your friends. We're running a contest on there. You'll see it when you get to the site, but it's a place where we're going to be posting a lot more information, a lot more updates on the book. So yeah. Don't be left behind. Sign up today.
Another way to kill a conversation, just like
there it is. Shameless plug at the end.
That's what I'm here
for. Everybody is
welcome. It's cool. Yeah, and the other thing to say though, it's like when you guys sign up on the website for the book, which you guys need to go do. We'll just wait. Go on.
No. We'll wait now.
We're doing giveaways of additional content that's not in the book as well. So by just getting out there and subscribing to our channel, sharing your content with others, tweeting it, liking it, and all the rest, you will get free content from us that we've already produced that's sitting there waiting for you. You just got to earn those entry tickets. And those entry tickets are shares and likes and getting other people to pop in and put their emails in. And you'll get points for all that, or entry tickets, or whatever you want to call them. And all those entry points just add up. And the more entry points you have, the higher chance of winning a hardware ledger wallet, which we will be giving out in December. So we want you to win.
Jeremy, we want you to win too.
Yeah, he's got 1 point. Okay.
I'm putting you on the spot. If you like and subscribed and shared with everybody you know, if not.
Steve hits the dump button every time I'm on the website. He sees me on it. He's like, nope.
No, fail.
Yeah, what am I going to say?
I like the clever title of your book. I think it's great, and it's good for people that even know about crypto to, you know, think about the people in your life that you don't want to be left behind. You know, get them involved, at least give them the information so they can make informed decisions on their own. And you know, years down the road, hopefully they make the right decision, and you can enjoy the fruits of that decision making. Probably the best way to say it.
For sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Yuri, are you able to check and see if there's been any comments, questions we can field quickly before we pop out? I was trying to open up the.
Don't know how to do that. Do I have to
just
if I go into
yeah, I was having a problem because my PC's got just churning.
I already know one of the questions, and ladies, I'll tell you, I'm kind of single. I'm not fully single, so it's complicated. So
what does kind of single mean?
Okay, let's cut to the chase here. So Jeremy's got an amazing girlfriend, and she asked him to take her to his father to meet, not the other way around.
Oh, good for her.
So I was wondering whether she'd asked for permission from the father, and of course, we don't know the answer to that yet. We're going to find out what happens next.
You guys are breaking up. I don't know back to crypto.
Yeah, you can't get away with anything on this show, Jeremy. You should know that by now with us anyway. You've been known each other a long time, so.
Oh, okay, so I'm in the chat. We've got somebody named Gilbert Good who says this is one of the best coin chats ever. Thank you, Gilbert Good.
That's my dad.
Oh.
Didn't the last name give it away, Yuri?
I don't make assumptions.
Yeah.
I don't assume everybody with the last name of Good is related to you.
It could be part of your groupies. They change their last
my
name.
My posse. Yeah. Anybody that wants to be on anybody that wants to subscribe to the channel needs to go and change their last name to Good or Cataldo. Good. And exactly. Then we only have Goods and Cataldos. It's like Yang Gang. You know, we don't have our own hashtag yet, but we're working on that.
We'll be the Good Gang. Good guys.
Yuri,
you've never heard that before.
I gotta just say one thing here. You need to be a dad because your jokes are worse than mine.
Yes, perfect. I'll take that as a win.
What was that, Jeremy?
Just become a dad for the sneakers. You know, you got those nice white sneakers.
Oh,
you guys
true.
All right.
What are white sneakers? I mean, I just have 4 dogs and 2 kids. I don't have white sneakers. They go black. You know. I just started buying black sneakers now. I gave up on the white ones because they just don't. The black ones, I don't know if they're dirty now. You know, it's like whatever.
Well, then you're already cooler than the average dad. I mean, right there.
Yeah.
True. But I would have said that anyway, right?
Definitely.
Love that buffalo. If that wasn't the subject change, I don't know what was.
Right. Hard right.
All right.
So how about being a dad for a second time there, Jeremy? What do you think of that?
No comment. I want to keep it strictly to the cryptocurrency. You know, that's.
Yeah, of course. Oh, okay. So let me ask you a different question. Have you got your?
Kind of like your prediction on crypto. What's it gonna do? Definitely.
It's gonna do that one.
Then I got a better question for you. I'll keep this to crypto now. Have you got your girlfriend into crypto yet?
We've talked about it, and you know what's kind of neat? I'm glad you asked. This is actually a serious question. It's good. The first time I brought it up, I can't remember what she called it, but she pretty much called it a scam, and she picked on it pretty badly. But now, when she comes over, she asks me how my trades are going, and she's trying to take the little bit. She's starting to see maybe there's something to this. So it's definitely been a change. So I'd say the wave is coming up on Market Cipher.
Yay, Market Cipher.
It's good. It's good.
Right.
It's trending up. That's a good sign.
My dad is watching. You might want to give him a copy of Market Cipher because he probably wants to start using this since he's a stockbroker. That'd be even funnier, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're going to make bigger trades with your clients, Dad. I tell you, Market Cipher is the winner.
Yeah.
It's better than RSI and BD.
You can use it for anything, any of those, any kind of trade. Yep.
He's going to get everyone in the office using it. It'll be hilarious, right? They're all going to be. I'm sorry, it's a 0.1 Bitcoin. So Dad, I know you read the book. Now you're going to have to go and you're going to have to get 0.1 Bitcoin. And tell all the guys in the office to do the same, and maybe you guys pool it together. I don't know. You do what you want. I don't really care. No, I do care. I'm just joking. But I mean, you know, we're living in crypto, so we're going to have to get you onto it somehow. Anything else there, Yuri?
No, that was it.
Conversation killer again, huh?
It was a conversation killer. Also, there's not much happening in our chat,
That's okay.
but that's all right. We haven't been on for a while, so.
No, we've been hiding, but people will find out this episode was out and they will watch
Yeah.
it anyway. And that's all good because we've been hiding for the summer for a few weeks. And
We had a task at hand, and that was get this book done, which is an important task. And now
Yes,
that it's very nearly there, we'll be back doing more of these shows, giving the people what they want, more of us, and my
and
terrible
pink bottles.
jokes and pink bottles. Got stay hydrated.
Silent drums. That was very Broadway of you there, Yuri. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Do you know what you did? Do you know what you did that was very Broadway?
Besides my jazz hands, this one, this move.
That one, yeah.
Yeah.
That was very Broadway.
Yes.
If you start going like this, I'll be a bit worried about you, but you know, that's more like
old habits die hard. Yeah, it's true. It is more vaudeville. Or if I start doing like nothing over here, nothing over here, wah, bad magic.
Yeah, most people call that black magic. You just call it bad magic. I'm glad you recognize the difference.
Yes, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. So there you go. Because I got my sleeves rolled up.
I don't have a coin here. I was going to do a magic trick for you guys, but
I've started a bad trend.
you're so lucky I don't have a coin, because if I did, it would just be like, oh, how did you do that? And I'll be pulling it out of your ear, Jeremy.
Yeah. Whoa.
That'd be really impressive.
I have a coin. Sorry.
Yeah, but when I throw the coin, I might break the camera, and that'll be the end of the episode. But at least we know something happened.
That's right.
All right, brothers.
It's been a pleasure. Jeremy, it's always been a pleasure to sit and chat with you and see your buffalo. Thank you so much. I like how you and the buffalo coordinated your outfit colors today.
We did. I didn't even realize that. Wow.
It's a black and white episode, you know, that we've got with Jeremy today.
Actually, I think it's a buffalo shirt. See, buffalo.
Oh my god, you are so on brand. I love it. How the Bills looking for the start of the season?
Super Bowl. Yeah, we're probably going to go undefeated. I'm already going to say we're already the preseason champions. We went 4-0. So right there, that's already one championship down. I don't know. We're going to hang that, but you know, we won. We won the preseason.
Are you going to put a Bitcoin on that? The Bills to win Super Bowl Bitcoin?
I'll get back to you. I got to look through to see if I can find it. I didn't come through clear.
Sure.
But a really good idea for a business model, really, because I haven't seen any like places where you can do sports betting with crypto, really. No, I mean, there must be something out there, but I've not seen anything.
Online. You can online.
Nice.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
Sports.ag. Although you have to use Bitcoin to buy into it, but they don't technically, you're right, you don't bet with Bitcoin. You can only put money into the account with Bitcoin.
Okay.
No, I'd like to bet with Bitcoin. That would be more fun.
Yeah, that would be a lot more fun.
Like, one Bitcoin on whatever the horse is called. I'm not going to come up with a horse name because I'll probably
whatever the horse is called. Steve's just betting on random horses. Like, dude, you have a horse. I'm betting on it.
I'm pretty sure when we talk to Steve next time, he's going to have no Bitcoin left.
Yeah.
Put it on that horse that, his name. What's his name?
No, but I'll have a lot of, no, Jeremy, I'll have no Bitcoin, but I'll have a lot of horses.
That's right. Seems like something I just bought horses with Bitcoin. I don't know. I think it's lost in translation somewhere.
I didn't understand what was happening. I thought I was gambling and betting on the horse winning, not on buying the horse. I did wrong website. Oh dear. Oh, random conversations are good. It's a great way to finish the day, or in your case, start the day. So
yeah.
All right, guys. Hey, everyone, thanks for checking in and watching us. And check out our website, beleftbehind.com, where you'll get lots of little giveaways and enter a contest for a free hardware wallet and other gifts that we will be getting as our sponsors come online with us too. So stay tuned. And as we say, to the moon. Until next time.
Bye, guys.
Yes, see you.
Let's see.
Bye.
How do we stop this thing?
I don't know. I think we all have to exit. What do we
No,
stop?
I've got it. I've got it.
Okay.